Let me know in the comments which is your favourite aquarium and why. Hi everyone, and welcome to another vlog from Tropica'S Aquarium Plants here in Denmark. And in this video I'm going to give you another update of all of the display aquariums and aquascapes that we're preparing for Interzoo 2024. So for those that don't know, Interzoo is a pet trade show in Germany, Nuremberg, and every 2 years we showcase our beautiful aquarium plants in some display aquariums. And in February, early February, a team of scapers and I created these beautiful displays ready to be showcased at Interzoo. So I will take you through each display. They've been running now for around 8 weeks or so, and I'm pleased to say they're all maturing beautifully. We do have some minor challenges, which we'll talk about in some detail later, and I'll talk to you about the maintenance that's required, some of the equipment as well, and just hope you enjoy it. And let me know in the comments which is your favourite aquarium and why. So let's start off with the smallest, and then we'll end with the biggest. So these two here, these are superfish aquariums. These were both scaped by Fabian Beck, a German scaper who goes by the name of Scapling on social media, so make sure you give him a follow. He's also got a YouTube channel as well. And this is a 45 centimetre superfish setup, comes supplied with lighting and filter, but we've upgraded the hang on the back filter to a Nawase Filto Smart. So the plants in here, we've got a HG carpet, a Cuba carpet. The actual official scientific name for this is now Micranthemum Calitricoides Cuba, as a foreground carpet, which is developing well. In the midground, we have Aereocaulon Vietnam, which is a new plant that we'll be releasing soon. One of my favourite plants, actually, really easy, especially for Aereocaulon. They tend to be more difficult, but these do well in hard water, in the shade. They don't even need CO2 injection, so it's quite a unique Aereocaulon from that respect. And then in the back, we've got some Rotala green there on the left. This is literally planted yesterday from a 1-2 grow, so obviously has a lot more growing to do. We did have some Proserpina palustris cuba in there, but it just wasn't doing very well, so we replaced it with a Rotala. Next to that, the other Rotala, this is Rotala Blood Red. So this is a really interesting one. This is a Rotala that goes red relatively easy. It's similar to HRAR, but it's actually goes red even easier than that. And then next to that we have the wonderful Rotala Wallachii, which is an advanced category. So this does need more light and CO2 than some other Rotalas. Very simple composition, just the one piece of wood there, some lovely round pebbles. And as with all of the scapes here, they're more designed to showcase the plants rather than the scaper's skill. But still, nevertheless, I'm sure you agree, it is a beautiful little tank. The lighting is, like I say, comes supplied, so we're running these almost at full intensity now, around about 100 PAR at the bottom of the tank using the Senai Parwise, which is a great affordable way to measure your PAR. For those that don't know, PAR is photosynthetic active radiation, so it gives you an actual measurement of the light that's actually usable by the plants. Arguably, PUR is even more accurate, photosynthetic usable radiation, but that's another story. So now we are on the 60 centimetre layout. This is, again, scaped by Fabian Scapling. And the really interesting plant here is the Hygrophila surfilum. So it's actually a carpeting Hygrophila. And again, it's quite easy, probably a medium category when it comes out. So it will definitely benefit from the CO2 injection. But yeah, really quite unique. And yeah, we don't often see, obviously, carpeting Hygrophilas. So it's going to be a really interesting one to hobbyists. To the right of that, we've got the classic Marcellea hirsuta. And then to the left of that, we have the Echinodorus tropica. So we're bringing this back into production. The last time we were producing it was actually 20 years ago, so it's nice to be able to showcase this again at Interzoo. And to the left of that, we have some Echinodorus rini, which has been replanted, and we did struggle earlier with it, so we've just got some new specimens there. And then in the back, we have a mixture of Rotala, no it's not, it's Ludwigia palustris super red and palustris green, which is actually a new species that we're releasing. So this has been the Ludwigia, as you can probably tell, has been recently trimmed, but it's a very fast growing weed and it will fill up the background relatively quickly. It sends out side shoots, so you can develop quite a bushy background quite quickly. Okay, moving on to these two tanks. These are really interesting. These are designed to showcase our 1-2 grow species. So all of these are available as 1-2 grow. I won't go through every single species. There are 36 species altogether. You can check out the previous vlog update video of these tanks if you want to know more about each plant. Did lots of trimming on these recently to kind of keep them in their little kind of divided areas. Just had to replant the Sagittaria there because that was melting for some reason. It's really interesting to see these plants melting, even in the conditions here at Tropica. Obviously we're, well known for producing beautiful aquarium plants, but we still run into issues now and again. So, we're all susceptible to these issues. Just a plant of note there, again, this is the Rotala wallachii, which I think is developing absolutely beautifully, and then Rotala macandra and the blood red. There are lots of Rotalas in the back, really, really beautiful. Same story with this one, just different species, of course, and probably a plant of note here that's doing particularly well is the Pagostemon haleferi and the Eriocaulon cinerum. This is an advanced category. A little bit similar in terms of texture to the Vietnam. It's a lot finer texture. It's actually an advanced species, and we have the flower spikes there, which look quite interesting. So everything's growing well, apart from the ones that we had to replant, Sagittaria. And yeah, just a really nice way to showcase the 1-2 grow, show the customers what they actually look like, because when a regular hobbyist comes in the store and sees 1-2 grow pots, they don't really see the potential of that pot. So these displays are a good way to show off what they're capable of. Okay, let's move on over to my favourite scape at the moment. This is the shallow cube. It's not really a cube, but it's a square footprint, of course. This was scaped by Carlos from Pez Verde, and this is growing in beautifully. We did have some issues. There was some, the Cuba carpet there wasn't growing so well, so I've replanted a load of fresh portions, and hopefully that will form a full carpet. We do have the Eriocaulon Vietnam there growing in the shade, which just shows how easy it is. You might notice the drop checker is a little bit blue at the moment. We have just done a water change, and actually I've just added another diffuser. So all the tanks are CO2 injected, and most of them just have the one diffuser, but this has got two because we weren't seeing really effective circulation and growth of especially the plants around this side here. And my understanding was that the CO2 wasn't quite reaching these corners down here. So we're just running the one filter. This is a large Eheim. All the other filters, most of the other filters are Oase. And other plants we have here, this is a plant of note. We have the beautiful, let's get a close-up of that from the glass. Here, this is Bucophalandra needle leaf. Really, really beautiful. Growing really well, nice and steady, no algae on it, which is lovely to see. And then here we have again the Rotala blood red. And that's actually leading down to, let's go to the other side so you can see properly. This is actually leading down to some Rotala HRAR. Now this wasn't going red, so we've boosted the lighting, so we're at about 125 PAR at the substrate level now. And it is just started, I don't know if you can see in the video, It's just starting to turn red at the tips. And if it all goes well, this will be trimmed really hard, almost down to the substrate level. And then what that will do is hopefully kind of cascade forward and remain like kind of creeping along the substrate. And this is going to hopefully mimic lava flow. So the concept of this aquarium is to kind of give you the impression of a volcano. And I think Carlos has done an amazing job. And it's just really lovely to see an aquarium that can be viewed from all four sides. This is going to be in the middle of the booth at Interzoo, so the visitors can actually walk around the aquarium and get a really good impression of the scape from all four sides. Just a little chat about the equipment. All of the lighting that you see on the long tank here, these two tanks and this square tank are all Chihiros, so special thanks to Chihiros for supporting this project. I think these are the Vivid RGB 2s, so fully programmable, very powerful. We're not running 100% intensity yet. We're actually adjusting them to the PAR rather than a percentage. So that's a really useful way to ensure that the plants are all getting a similar amount of light, or at least we know exactly how much light each tank is getting, and we can adjust that according to the tank's needs. The CO2 systems are mostly these strideways systems here. This one actually has a manifold, so we're running the 2 diffusers as discussed. And this is a really great way to, add more CO2 to more aquariums just using the one regulator. I'm a big fan of these regulators. Dosage wise, we're dosing each tank differently according to the plant's needs. So for instance, this one is getting around, I think 50 millilitres or 60 millilitres of the Tropica specialised nutrition after each water change, which at the moment is happening 2 or 3 times a week. And my job this week has actually just been to maintain all of these tanks. And it's been a real pleasure. Hard work. We're in a test room here. There's no natural light. So it is, it's not, it's a dream job to be fair, but it is quite hard work. And there's quite a lot of pressure, to be fair, to make these look good for Interzoo. No room for error. Of course, we want to show off our plants the best we can. This is a showcase planted tank for the Aquadecor products. So all the plants in here are Aquadecor, plants that have been attached to either driftwood or lava stone. Got some mosses. The only other plant in here is the carpeting, Halanthus tunnelum green. Everything growing really well. Actually had a bit of a change of the composition just to make it look a bit more attractive. So we've got a classic on a concave composition there. Might actually put another carpeting plant here, not sure yet, but everything's growing really well. These measure 1 metre by 50 centimetres by 50, so they hold about 250 litres or about 60 or 70 gallons. Again, the Chihiros lights there. Identical aquarium, but different layout, of course. Again, this was done by Fabian Scapling. Classic triangular composition. And the aim of this scape is actually to showcase the mosses and the bucephalandras that we stock here and grow here at Tropica, ranging from the bucket Kilem here, or it used to be known as wavy green. We've got the brand new blue steel, Kedigang, bucephalandra red, and the stunning bucephalandra needle leaf as well, perfect for nano tanks. Different mosses, I won't go through each type, but we do have the really beautiful Monocotyledon tenerum, which is actually a liverwort. It's not actually a regular aquarium plant. It's more like an algae crossed with a plant, I guess you could call it, or a moss crossed with an algae. So it's just a different kind of group of plants. We actually got some submersed Riccia, so that's interesting, quite a classic addition. Carpet of Monte Carlo, some Blixa and Tunnelum green in the back. And then the plant of note in here is the relatively new, what's brand new to Tropica, Hygrophila odora, which is a really interesting stem plant, quite similar to Deformis in its leaf formation. Not particularly fast growing. There's a nice little shrimp there. But yeah, just a really nice texture. Got the classic Amazon swords in the back. Just added some moss there. You might be able to see some of the ugly super glue there, but that will soon be covered hopefully by the moss. Got some Bulbitis, really beautiful wood composition. And yeah, props to Scapeling for creating such a beautiful layout here. Really nice to view it from this side as well. That's one of the great things about triangular layouts, you can view them from the other end. This is a really great layout for a room where you're going to be viewing it from an angle. Something to bear in mind when you're scaping at home, where you can actually be sitting and viewing the tanks from. Speaking of sitting, I think I'll take a seat here and then we'll have a little chat about the 3-meter aquarium. This has been the most challenging tank so far, and the reason for that is we've had quite a lot of the plants struggling. We'll go through each species in a moment, but just to take in the whole impression from this angle here. And yeah, it's just a stunning tank. This is actually going to be on the bar area at Tropica, so people can literally sit behind a bar and enjoy this beautiful aquascape whilst they're enjoying a nice drink, cocktails maybe. So let's have a closer look. Just again, we're running the Chihiros lighting. We're running 3 diffusers in here, and I've just moved this one to the front of the aquarium because we do have a lot of flow here, and the idea is the circulation picks up the bubbles, and I don't know if you can see in the video, but it really does shift those bubbles around the scape. A lot of the bubbles are actually now hitting the substrate level, which is great because it means it's going to feed the Monte Carlo. And we have been struggling a little bit with the Monte Carlo growth, so I'm hopeful that the combination of increased lighting, so again we're running 100 PAR I think at the substrate now, maybe 125, so that will hopefully encourage new growth, new healthy growth. So yeah, other plants of note. This is really stunning. This is the Cryptocorini spiralis red. It's almost completely red now. The leaves do have a kind of green vein running down the centre, but in really intense lighting the whole leaf will actually turn red. Just to give you an impression, one that was just planted 2 weeks ago looks like this, so you can see the difference. It's a lot greener obviously, but this will turn the same colour as the other one hopefully. Now the plant that we are struggling with at the moment, and open to ideas of what we can do to help the issues, is the Nubius pinto. Starting to get sort of brown algae, which is common in new setups, and probably it's just too much light for it maybe, I'm not sure. But it's not looking so healthy. The pinto leaves are a bit thinner than the regular Nana leaves, the Barteri family leaves, and I just think it's a bit more of a delicate species. So yeah, interesting to hear anyone's thoughts on the pinto. I'm not actually a huge fan of it. I just think it looks a bit sick. When I see a plant that's very pale and got green bits in it, I just don't think it doesn't look natural to me, but it is a very popular plant, quite a novel plant of course. Got the beautiful, look at this is amazing. This mini coin collection here running along the log. Looking great. There's some brand new pinto at the back there. We've got some Juncus repens. This is amazing. We just planted this week. This is a purple Bacopa. I think the official species name is Bacopa sansmani, but I think it's going to be sold as Bacopa something purple. Don't quote me on that, but one to look out for sure. And that will be available in pots, I think, rather than the tissue culture to start with at least. Now I have replanted the back there. It was originally Eleocharis Persilla mini, but I wanted to show off a newer plant. So again, one of my favourites, like I said, is the Vietnam, Eriocanon Vietnam, and I've swapped the Eleocharis for the Vietnam, and I've actually kind of intermittently added some portions amongst the Crypt Albedo Brown, and that's going to hopefully grow to a similar height and kind of create a nice red stroke brown and green intermittent texture. Here's a good example of the pinto not looking so great and a bit brown. So yeah, open to ideas guys of what we could do to maybe solve the pinto issue. If it comes down to it, we'll probably replace it with another species potentially. Another plant here which is beautiful and relatively new to Tropica'S is a Cryptocorini nurii, otherwise known as Crypt Rosen Maiden. Beautiful leaf colours. Do check out the previous vlog and you'll see the development of these tanks just in the last 2 weeks. And here, this is my favourite and something to get very excited about. This is the Bucephalandra Blue Steel. And this is going to be a big seller, I'm sure. It has a beautiful metallic sheen. And yeah, we planted this amongst all of the wood. Here, some especially quite dense around here. It's looking really lovely. Got some Hygrophila araguaia. This is a new addition. This is the Hygrophila serifilum again. We do have some Eleocharis in the back there, which is a nice background effect. What else do we have? The Ludwigia green and red again, which we showed you earlier in the 60cm tank. So this is getting around, I think, 80 millilitres at the moment of specialised nutrition after each water change. Specialised nutrition, for those that don't know, is an all-in-one fertiliser that contains nitrogen and phosphorus, as well as all the other macro and micronutrients, whereas the premium nutrition doesn't contain nitrogen and phosphorus, so that's the main difference. So if you have a tank with lots of fish and fewer plants, you tend to go for the premium, and if you have a more specialised tank with loads of plants and fewer fish, you tend to go for the specialised nutrition. We're not actually going to be using any display fish in these aquariums for the growing in period and for the show itself. We did used to put display fish in these tanks at the show, but I did suggest that we didn't do that. It's not very kind to the fish. They tend to suffer because we're doing kind of 90% water changes on these tanks at the actual show. Hi, Charles.
Hey.
And so it's a great idea not to actually stock any fish. We're just stocking shrimps and some snails in some of the aquariums as well, just to help out with any potential algae issues. So that's it, a quick update of the wonderful display tanks here at Tropica. Do keep your eyes peeled for future updates. Follow us on social media, of course. You can use the hashtag #MadeWithTropica for a chance to have your own content featured. And don't forget to download the free app if you haven't done so yet. It's a great resource, great plant database, and lots of inspirational layouts. So before I go, don't forget to let us know what your favourite tank is and why. Don't forget to follow the guys that created these, so Scapling and Carlos from Pez Verde. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Cheerio.